Most business owners think their exit strategy starts when they hire an M&A advisor. That belief alone has quietly cost founders millions of dollars because by the time you're ready to sell, the game is already half over. That's why today I'm going to show you why most exits underperform, what the top 1% of sellers do differently, and how to avoid the mistakes that look harmless but destroy leverage during diligence. So I've seen the following scenario play out more times than I can count. A founder is doing 15 million, 30 million, even 50 million in revenue. Great margins, strong year-over-year growth. They get told, your business will command a premium multiple. But then diligence starts. Numbers soften. EBITDA dips. Forecasts suddenly feel optimistic. And the buyer wonders one thing. Am I catching a falling knife? That's when leverage disappears. Valuation drops. Structure worsens. Certainty evaporates. So how can you make sure this doesn't happen to you? This isn't about selling your business someday. This is about engineering optionality, because the best exit strategy is one where you're not rushed, you're not emotional, and you're not dependent on a single buyer's opinion. Let me walk you through 7 exit strategies and principles that actually work at the $5 to $50 million plus level. Strategy number 1, stop believing pre-sale promises. Here's a hard truth no one likes to say out loud. Prospective M&A advisors are not incentivized to be brutally honest before you hire them. They're trying to win your business. So what happens? Optimistic valuation ranges, rosy deal structures, high confidence closing probabilities. Not because they're bad people, because that's just how sales work. The savviest sellers understand this. They don't anchor on pre-engagement promises. They use advisors for execution, not validation. Once you hire an advisor, though, listen to them. The most successful exits come from founders who accept that they are no longer the expert in the room. This is exactly what I help owners do before they ever hire an advisor, so they can filter hype from reality. If that sounds useful, there's a link below to watch a free video explaining how to do this. Strategy number 2, understand transaction dynamics or pay for it later. Most founders understand their business. Very few understand deal mechanics, and that gap is expensive. You need to understand how timing impacts valuation, why structure matters as much as price, what LOIs actually commit you to, where deals quietly fall apart. Because here's the trap. Founders fixate on headline price. Buyers optimize for risk-adjusted returns. That mismatch shows up in earnouts, holdbacks, working capital traps, non-competes, escrows. If you don't understand these mechanics, you won't negotiate them. You'll accept them. And no, your lawyer won't save you here. They paper deals. They don't create leverage. Strategy number 3, build buyer relationships before you sell. This one is subtle and massively understood. When I say get to know buyers before you sell, most people assume I mean pitching your company early and often. That's not it. This is about learning. Specifically, what buyers actually like in businesses like yours, what quietly turns them off, what makes them nervous during diligence, and what makes them lean forward instead of pulling back. Finally, what you desire in a future partner. There is no substitute for hearing and experiencing this firsthand, because buyers will never say things publicly, but in private conversations, they'll tell you everything. Here's where this becomes powerful. When buyers already understand your business model, your market dynamics, your leadership style, and the why behind your decisions, risk perception drops. And when risk drops, diligence becomes smoother. Valuation pressure eases. Structure improves. Cold processes create defensive buyers. Informed buyers create better outcomes. So yes, this is about relationships, but more importantly, it's about using buyers as real-time feedback loops to sharpen your business before it's ever ready for sale. That's leverage most sellers never build. Strategy number 4. Trustworthy financials beat perfect financials. Let's take this one a layer deeper. Buyers don't just analyze your numbers. They analyze whether your numbers match your story. If you say growth has been steady, but your EBITDA swings wildly year to year, that creates friction. If you say margins are improving, but the expense categories are too broad to understand why, that creates doubt. Your financials need to fit the narrative that you're telling, and they need to be detailed enough to draw conclusions from. Here's a mistake I see constantly. Expense categories that are so high level, buyers can't tell what's actually driving profitability. At that point, you're forcing buyers to ask for more data, and every extra request during diligence increases perceived risk. Why make it harder than it needs to be? Now let's talk about cash versus accrual, because this matters. Buyers want accrual financials. That's how deals are analyzed. But cash-based statements often reflect how owners actually experience the business. Sure, QuickBooks makes it look easy. Just click a button and convert cash to accrual. In reality, it's rarely that clean or simple. Accrual adjustments, timing differences, normalization, these all need to be understood and explained before diligence. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is clarity, consistency, and trust. Because when buyers trust the numbers, they trust the deal. Strategy number 5, build a real marketing deck, not a data dump. Most sims fail for one of two reasons. They're written in an overly optimistic tone, or they do not contain enough info to even begin to understand the business. Your marketing deck should tell a story. It should clearly communicate company history, what makes you different, why customers choose you, where growth comes from, why this business wins long term, what some challenges are, what should not be included, fluff. Because buyers don't fall in love with spreadsheets, they fall in love with positioning, and positioning creates competition. Competition creates leverage. Strategy 6, have a growth strategy and be executing it. Here's what buyers don't want. A founder who says, here are all the different growth levers we could pull. Buyers discount hypotheticals. What they want is proof of execution. That means growth initiatives already launched, early traction, KPIs being tracked, systems supporting scale. Growth stories work only when they're already in motion. Otherwise, buyers assume they're buying effort, not results. The last thing you want buyers to ask themselves is, if your growth plans are so easy, why aren't you doing them already? Strategy 7, clearly articulate why you're different. If your differentiation sounds generic, your multiple will be too. You must be able to explain why your product or service is different, why competitors can't easily replicate it, why customers stay. If your answer is service, relationships, quality, you're already losing leverage. Buyers hear that every day. Specificity equals defensibility. Defensibility equals value. Here's the shift elite sellers make. They stop thinking about selling a business and start thinking about building a business buyers fight over. That happens years, not months before a transaction. This is why 80% of businesses listed for sale never close. Not because they aren't good businesses, but because they weren't prepared businesses. This is exactly what we do at Presale Prep. We help owners eliminate deal killers before buyers find them, understand valuation and structure without bias, build leverage before going to market, and exit with more control, more confidence, and better outcomes. And here's the part most people don't expect. If your business is large enough and you do the work, I'll make an offer to buy it myself. So if you're doing 5 to 50 million plus in revenue and want to understand what your exit could look like before you test the market, there's a link below to watch a free video or schedule a conversation. Even if you never work with us, you'll walk away smarter than 90% of sellers. And that alone can be worth millions.